What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Hope you guys are well. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out, do all the good stuff. Hope you guys are staying cool in this heat and enjoying the content, the Yankees stuff, and the Giants stuff especially. We're doing another Roster Bubble Series video today, and we are going to do it on UDFA Jake Kubas, offensive lineman. But if you guys haven't been here before, we take a player on the cusp of being cut. We talk about their background. We talk about the competition, ways they could win a spot on the roster, ways they could lose a spot on the roster, and at the end, a prediction. So, Jake Kubas, 23 years old, 6'4", 308 pounds, out of North Dakota State. The Giants signed him right after the draft. Now, some notes about Jake Kubas. We'll talk about his career and his good and bad traits. 2018, he redshirted. 2019, he was a backup. 2020, he played 3 games before ending the season with a leg injury. Now, I'm pretty sure they played the season in the spring because that conference, I'm forgetting the name of the conference. It might be Northwest Conference. I don't know. Or conference, I don't know the conference. I apologize on that. But that particular conference in college football, they canceled the 2020 season and moved it to the spring. So he had 3 games played before the leg injury. 2021, 15 games at right guard. 2022, 15 games at right guard, 2 sacks and a penalty. And 2023, 11 games at offensive guard, 0 sacks and 3 penalties. Now, the good and the bad with Jake Kubas. Athleticism, technique, second-level blocker, quickness, which helps with pulling, hand placement, and quick feet. The bad part is the mass. He is undersized as an offensive lineman, particularly on the interior. And here's what Sports Illustrated had to say about him on the interior. The lack of size makes him susceptible to the bull rush and other power moves. It also causes him to get beat on stunts because he intentionally gets to his spot to stop an initial rusher. He does not consistently scan the line to ensure defenders are not threatening his area on stunts and blitzes. He will need to develop better eye discipline and patience at this level. He will also need to work on his strength and power to withstand the power rushes of the bigger interior offensive linemen. As I said, 308, that's tough. 6'4", that's, you really don't have any super tall guards in the NFL. Some of them are small, some of them are big. It's obviously a variation of things. But 308, that is a little light in the pants for an offensive guard. And obviously it helps in the way, okay, he's quick. He pulls, he does this, he does that. But when it comes to pass protection and eye discipline and everything that comes about that, he doesn't do that well in that area. But before we go to competition and everything, I want to have a quick camp note on him. Obviously, I didn't know what to expect coming in with Jake Kubas. Is he going to play with the third team? Is he going to play with the second team? Blah, 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 blah. He has played with all 3 teams so far in camp, and he's done well. One of the reps, and I get it, Nacho's not a pass rusher, but one of the reps that really got my eyes on him is when he battled Nacho in one-on-ones, and he pretty much just stonewalled him. And that's impressive because you're talking about a small school kid, 6 years in school, this, that, and the third. He's got size issues or frame issues, however you want to put it, and he's going up against an NFL defensive lineman, someone who's been in the league for 5+ years, and he's stonewalling him. That's a very big impression to leave on Brian Dable and Carmen Bracilla, a very good one at that, to where, if you don't make the initial 53, you're on the practice squad, or if you do well enough and there's injuries that happen, you get to move up. And that's what he's been doing. JMS, he's been out with a shoulder injury as of late. So what happens? Right now they have 3 different centers. Jimmy Morrissey, John Runyon Jr., and Austin Schlottman. When Runyon is in, they put Jake Kubas at right guard. Now, why don't they do it to other guards like Azuda or anything, or a couple of the other backups, Marcellus Johnson, whatever? I guess they like Jake Kubas more. And he's shown in most of the situations that he can handle it. Now, again, I got to put more eyes on him when he's with the first team. And obviously the Joint practices against the Lions and the Jets and the preseason games are going to tell us a completely different story maybe, but they might tell us the same story, which is a good thing for Jake Kubas because, again, small school kid, UDFA, looking to make the roster, and he's really impressed so far. You've seen him get to the second level at times, and again, I know that these guys don't tackle, they don't do this, they don't do that because there's some restrictions with training camp. But you could see the impact Jake Kubas has going at the second level, fighting the linebackers and the other DBs that are coming in. So what is his competition looking like? Well, it's Jimmy Morrissey, Marcellus Johnson, Jalen Mayfield, Aaron Stinney, and Marcus McKeithen. Obviously, our guy Jake Kubas is not a tackle, so we don't need to mention any of the tackles. But Morrissey fights with him for the center spot. Mayfield, he fights with him for the guard spot. Same with Johnson, same with McKeithen, same with Stinney. He's a veteran, so he probably gets the advantage, and he was with the first team first before Kubas even got reps slowly because of the JMS injury. But let's see, Stinney, Morrissey, that's pretty much it in terms of guys that have consistently gotten the first team reps, along with Jalen Mayfield on occasion, but it's not that much. How can Jake Kubas win a roster spot for the New York Football Giants? Health is one. Position versatility. Center. Guard. If the Giants can have that, either stashed on the practice squad or stashed on the roster, it's a big advantage because the Giants are looking for versatile guys. They're looking for quality depth, something they did not have last year. And the first few days in camp, Jake Kubas has shown he could do some of that. Now, as far as center goes, right now he hasn't had great snaps of the ball. So that's something one of the guys, whether it's Morrissey, this, that, and the third, will have to teach him, okay, you got to do it like this, or change it up a little bit just to help him out. 1v1s. I think that's going to be big. I want to see him keep going up against, now, Dexter Lawrence would probably put his ass into the ground, but if he goes up against, like, Jordan Phillips, Ryder Anderson, this guy, that guy, Elijah Chapman, those are matchups that he might be able to win. And if he starts winning those matchups, then you have a good problem to have on your hands with all the offensive guards that you have on the roster. Okay, we got to make some tough decisions because Jake Kubas is making this harder for us and making it harder for the other guards to make the roster, taking advantage of injuries. He's done that so far. He got bumped up to the first team because JMS has been out with a shoulder injury. He's played center. He's played guard. So it's all rolled up into a singular ball for Jake Kubas, and it's really going positively right now and getting better with the eye discipline. Now, that's something you probably will need to develop over time, and not to mention when guys are actually getting hit in preseason games, you'll be able to adjust. But that's still something you could refine and practice, and I hope Carmen Brasillo and James Ferentz, I hope they're going over that with the guys and everyone else just to make sure everybody's on the same page. But the Giants, the last few years, have had problems with stunts, and if Jake Kubas can't adjust to that, it's going to be a thorn in his side in terms of making the roster. Now, what's the situation? How can he lose? Health. That's number one. It's always health is a top priority. Availability is the best ability. Play plummets and joint practices. The reason I could possibly see this happening, not that it will, not that it won't, I don't have a prediction, is you get used to how guys play. Nacho may have a certain number of pass rush moves. Elijah Chapman, Ryder Anderson, Jordan Phillips, Jordan Riley. Those guys might have some cadences in their technique that you get used to. So you think you have it in your brain. You think you have the ropes and the reins all fastened. Well, if you go up against guys in joint practices like Lee McNeil, Levi Unmuzuriki, all these other different cats that are trying to compete for roster spots on the other side, whether it's the Jets, the Texans, in preseason matches, or it's joint practices, and you start struggling, that's going to be bad because then you're just a camp standout, and that's pretty much that. I mean, that was pretty much the case for C.J. Conrad, who was a tight end in 2019. Oh, yeah, C.J. Conrad, he's doing really well in camp, but didn't show up in the preseason games, and that's why he was cut. So play plummets, enjoy practices, preseason games. Eye discipline lacks as well as size. You can't change the size on him, but he's got to get better at eye discipline. I don't think defensive coordinators are going to throw too many things out there across the NFL because they want to keep it vanilla, just basic stuff. But you probably will have a couple of stunts thrown in there by the defensive coordinators of the opposing teams. I don't know who the Texans' defensive coordinator is, but you also have Aaron Glenn of the Lions, and you have Jeff Ulbrich of the Jets. So those are very technical defensive coordinators. Again, they may throw some things in there, whether it's first, second, or third team, just to put guys in good positions to make the roster or just, make a name for themselves. And Jake Kubas, in that situation, will have to communicate with guys on the right side and the left side, whether he's at center or any of the guard spots. And versatility issues. If they switch him over to center and think that's the best position for him, he's got to get better at snapping the ball. He's got to get better because we can't have these errant snaps. You're not putting the line in a good position. You're not putting the receivers in a good position. You're not putting the quarterback in a good position. But nonetheless, I think Jake Kubas is going to get cut. And this one is subject to change. I say that a lot, but I actually mean it for Jake Kubas. I mean it for Matt Adams because Kubas has came in and he's had a really strong impression on me and a lot of other Giant fans, and I believe the coaches as well are pretty surprised the way he's playing on a good level. But there's two things that weigh into that. Do they think he's valuable enough to keep on the roster, or are they going to say, okay, let's try to risk it through waivers and hopefully a team doesn't pick him up? But then again, too, we have 3 preseason games and 3 joint practices to go. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.